Hi there, my name is Aaron Short and welcome to my YouTube channel on today, which is December the 29th, 2021. Wow, it's been a crazy year and we're about to finish it and enter a new year, new gear. So, as I suspected, not many new releases this week. There have actually been a few things released this week or announced this week. It's crazy, still stuff coming out, but nothing major that I'm going to talk about today. What I thought I'd do today is actually discuss what has been released this year and what I think is my favorite gear of this year so far. So if you've bought anything this year, I mean, I guess it can be from the previous year as well, stuff you've discovered this year, but most importantly, gear that was released this year will feature today. What I'll do is I'll scan through my old videos and I'll call out some key items that were released and I talked about or I reviewed, and then I'll say at the end what my favorites were. So do me a favor, in the chat, let me know what your favorite piece of gear this year was, whether you bought it this year and discovered it this year, or whether something was released this year which you really love or are interested in. So before I get started, I'm going to say hello to the one and only David Belcher, of course. Says, good morning, Aaron, everyone in the chat. Good to see you as always, David. And Chazza is here. Now, Chazza, I just saw your video you posted. I couldn't leave a comment because you turned the comments off. But you just posted the video playing the guitar. That was awesome. I enjoyed that. And Patsy Smith is watching from Suffolk, wearing my red Soundhole Sniffer t-shirt. Awesome. Yeah, I put a link there for your Soundhole Sniffer t-shirt, mug, or sticker. I really must get some new gear for myself in 2022 as well for the channel. But anyway, let's get this started. I'm going to start right away because if you're watching the replay, then I'm going to get straight into it. And if you're here live, I appreciate you being here. So, I'm scanning back here to the 1st of January, 2021. The first thing I reviewed in 2021 was the Laser Stomp drum pedal. And I'm going to let you know how these did in views as well. This got quite a lot of views, over 5,000 views. And I think I love gear like this. I love gear that is for the solo musician that can make my solo shows sound even better. And this thing certainly does. And I love the fact it's got the laser beam in it. That does bring the cost up. And I've been using the more affordable options. Like I love the Ortega Horse Kick Pro. That's a great pedal. But those pedals can wear out over time. The really interesting thing with the Laser Stomp is that there's no moving part there to wear out. It's a laser beam. And I really like that pedal. There was a few things I identified there that I'd like to see changed and improved in the future. But I thought overall it's really cool. And I always support companies that do something different. Thank you for doing something different and not just releasing another guitar amplifier, another pedal that aims to copy a guitar amp. You know, thank you for making something unique. Actually, I'll just backtrack on that a little bit. The company that sells that pedal now is not the original creator. They actually bought the company from the original creator, but they have told me they're going to work on new products in the future. And if they do, I'd love to feature them on the channel. So that was a cool start to the year. Then I reviewed the Cole Clark system. I've always wanted to review a Cole Clark pickup system on the channel, and I managed to buy one used from a friend of mine, and I think we all agreed that was a great sounding pickup, especially in the Fat Lady Dreadnought that they make, and that was cool. That was a cool video. I'm glad we finally got a Cole Clark on the channel to review. Then I did a live stream about the RC500. So the Boss loopers have been really cool. They've been releasing a lot of new loopers. There's the RC600 coming out in the next few months. I'm going to have that on the channel, talk about that. Again, I have to thank Boss for releasing loopers and different pedals and being kind of creative. They always have been, and their loopers are great. I think the RC500 is my favorite looper at the moment. It's not perfect. Neither are the other ones. I love the idea of the Aeros looper, but they keep releasing new firmware and it never quite gets where I want it to be. I think the RC500 is a great compact battery-powered looper, and I really like it. I want to do a series on how I loop, and I was actually looking for the TC Ditto pedal to use for that video, because for me, that's the most simple, easiest to use looper that I could use to explain that. And they're all sold out everywhere. Like a lot of gear right now, they're all sold out. So once I can find one of those used, I'm going to use that, I think, for a looping tutorial. But if you're looking for a looper right now, the Boss RC500 is great. And the 600 is on its way. But the 600 is more expensive and has a lot more real estate to it. It's got more buttons on it, which you may want or you may not want. Okay. Warren, it's been a long time. Good to see you here. It says good morning all in the chat. How you doing, Warren? Did you get any guitars for Christmas? So next I looked at the Two Notes Captor X. which I still have. Very small portable box. I currently use the aux box to plug an amp in directly to my computer, and I love the aux box. But the aux box has gone up in price several times. It's incredibly expensive now, and it's very big and heavy, so I don't want to take that to a show. I would take the Captor X to a show. I haven't needed to this year, but I will do that in the new year if I have a show that warrants that. So that's cool. I think the 2-Notes Captor X and the aux box are both great options. The aux box to me is the one that I use at home. I love I love all the UA universal audio stuff, and I especially love the aux box. But the 2-Notes Captor X is the more portable version. It would be great to see Universal Audio make a smaller version of the aux box that you can use live. That would be a really cool thing. So then I reviewed the LR Baggs M80. That's a very good sound hole pickup. That did quite well. A couple of thousand views. I reviewed the Fender Preverb pedal, which is a preamp and reverb pedal in one. And that was okay. That was a good product, but I don't need something like that. I tend to use the TC Helicon Play Acoustic for my shows, as it's an all-in-one. I don't really need to add anything else. So I like that for my, to take the train to shows and things. Right, then I think my biggest video of the year, in a way, well, not the biggest of the year, but one of my biggest of the year that's watched the most each month, was the TC Electronic Ditto Plus. Now, this is a great looper. The only problem with this looper is it's one button. And when you're performing, you really want 2 buttons at least. Having said that, I still loved it. I still use it on my electric board because it does things that other loopers don't. It's incredibly small. It's incredibly affordable. It has a color screen, and you can save your loops onto it. So if you're just playing electric guitar at home and write a great riff, you can record it and it will remember it. Now, a lot of loopers don't do that, funnily enough, especially in that price range. So I think that's my most watched video, and I think it's because it's something people are looking for that's very affordable. And that's why people like those products. Of course, we all want something that's great and affordable, right? So that was one of my most popular videos. So I'll try and do more videos like that in the future. Gear that is affordable and excellent. Of course, that's those two things are key, really, aren't they? All right. Warren got one new guitar for Christmas, and you got the Eros Looper. There you go. Yeah. They've really improved it, Warren. The Eros Looper on the latest firmware, make sure you put the latest firmware on there from your Wi-Fi, is so much better than it was a year ago. A year ago, I'd say for me, it was barely usable. And now with the latest firmware, they've added so many features and bug fixes that I wanted them to do. I'm so happy about that. There's only one thing left for them to do, really, for me to be at a place where I would use that all the time, which is to really iron out all the little bugs and put in the ability to import loops. If I could have songs saved with loops already imported, like drums and strings and pianos, and I could use that as a loop player as well, for me, that would be absolutely ideal. And the minute they do that, I'm going to review it. Like I've said before, so many products lately are not quite where they need to be firmware-wise. Sometimes I feel like they never will be, which is kind of sad. But as soon as they are, I will review them. I don't want to review stuff that's kind of half-baked, in my opinion. So for me, the Eros is almost there. If they can add that feature I'm looking for and just polish it up a little bit, that's going to be the one, I think. That's going to be the one that I recommend. Of course, in that time, something else may be released, but if it is, I'll let you know. So the next big one was in March. It was the Quad Cortex. Incredibly polarizing pedal. So this is Neural DSP's hardware, venture into hardware. Took ages to come out. Incredibly massive hype, and it finally came out, and I got one. And of course, those videos did really well. I'm looking at them now. They had like few thousand views. Of course, they did great, but it was just so bare bones at release. You know, so much potential, but again, a bit like the Eros, not enough firmware updates. So I sold mine, but I now have another one because I just kept reading about it and I missed it a bit, and I kept thinking, well, if they add, and they're so dangerous to do this, if they add this, this, and this, it'll be great. So I got another one. I got it from Sweetwater, and I had the free case with it. So I thought I'll get it, and if by the middle of next year they haven't done enough with it, in my opinion, for me, I'll just sell it. I won't lose too much money. But again, this relying on these firmware updates is so dangerous because firmware now is everything, isn't it? But the great thing with the Quad Cortex is that the actual physical unit is so great for me. It's so small and portable. Most importantly for me, it has 2 XLR inputs, so I can plug a microphone into it. The other companies don't really cater to singers at all. Not much. No, not really. A couple of them do, but not. They don't really. That's not their focus. So I have a lot of faith for next year in firmware, and I don't like that, but I do. So again, stay tuned to the channel, and I'll report any updates that come. Let's see. Oh, I reviewed the guitar storage unit. That was cool. I did a partnership with them. I reviewed the Sun Audio Stage Di2. That's a great preamp. If you're looking for an acoustic guitar preamp, that's the one that I recommend. And I'm pleased for them. I had about 1,000 views, which is quite good for an acoustic guitar preamp. They're a really cool company, and that is a great preamp, honestly. That is the one to get. The Sun Audio Stage Di2, and you buy it direct from Sun Audio. Oh, the Martin Lux guitar pick, which we were talking about with Maury on Monday, got over 1,000 views. It actually did really well for a pick. So that was cool. Then the big one, I got my Gibson J150 Noel Gallagher. That was my most watched video. That got just under 30,000 views, which is great. And I love that guitar. I haven't played it lately. I still have it. It's on the shelf. I keep it in the hard case. I'm protecting it. They're so rare. What, they make 150 of them? Only it's such a rare guitar. Cool guitar. Again, it's the whole signature thing, right? You pay more for the signature. You could get a J200 for less money, which may even be a better guitar, but it's a limited edition guitar. It is what it is. And I'm a huge Oasis fan, so I've still got it, and I plan to use that in the future. And it's got Bag's Anthem in there as well, which is cool. Great pickup system. Then then we had the England football game, which I won't talk about. Let me see. Okay, big one for me, Jbl Prx1. So I had that early as a preview, and I did my initial impressions video. 12,000 views, did really well for the channel. And I still like it, but again, firmware. I think, so there we go. I didn't expect to be talking about firmware this much. I'm still waiting for the firmware for that Prx1, or most importantly, the app to be improved. I'm still looking for the app to be improved for that. And it's usable, because actually when I do a show with that, I do use those live right now, but I plug straight in and just use it. I don't tweak anything in the app. The app to me is just very old-fashioned and needs to be improved. And again, when it is, I'll do a deep dive. I don't want to do a deep dive into that app and then they adjust it or improve it in the future. That seems silly to me. So yeah, that's the that's the thing for 2021, firmware. That's only going to get worse as we get more and more digital products that rely on firmware. It's going to just get worse. And yeah, kind of why I went back to analog stuff in a way as well. Danielle says, am I still using Band in the Box? Danielle, I use it all the time. I love that software. I recently got the new version, which is the 2021. They've just released 2022 for PC, and that has a really cool feature where you can actually mix the individual drum volumes on your mixer. And that's something I wanted from that software for a long time, since I had it. So I'm really excited for that version. I would say if you have 2020, don't bother upgrading to 2021. It's not that much different. Hold off for 2022 and get that version. I mean, I guess we all want different features, right? That's again my opinion. There may be a feature in 21 you want. Look at the notes on their website. But for me, 2022 is the big one as someone that records songs, because I can actually import the drums in individually and not just have one mix of drums. That's huge, and I'm really glad they've done it. I still think they need to, again, modernize that software. It still feels a little bit old-fashioned, and it is. They designed that software years ago. But for me, it's still the best. I've tried a few other drum plugins and things this year, and they just don't impress me as much as Band in the Box does. So definitely, I'm definitely using that. I use that all the time. Anytime I need to make a backing track for a video or anything like that, I use that software because it's license free. So you can use it anytime and you won't get a claim. It's incredibly valuable. And just a quick update on that. I no longer use the audio file version on the separate hard drive because it was kind of slow to load those huge files. I now use the mid-tier version, which I've actually got on a hard drive, but I've installed it directly onto my computer, so it loads up really fast. All right, and then yeah, I love Band in the Box. I did get that this year. I got the 2021 version this year, and I was going to review it, but there wasn't really enough different about it for me to review it. But I'm still using it. I'm really excited for 2022's version. Hey Thomas, how you doing? My Fiore arrived today, waiting to open it. Oh, I wish I was there to see you open it. Ah, I bet it's a great guitar. I mean, PRS make great guitars. I bet it's awesome. And it's got the humbucker in the bridge, right? You know, I still struggle with that stuff. I love my vintage single coils. I've got the Custom Shop 69 single coils in my Blue Strat, and I love the clarity and they're my favorite. But then when I'm playing the heavy rock stuff, I always want to have that humbucker in the bridge. But then when I have the humbucker in the bridge, I want the single coil. You know how it goes. But that's a great guitar for that because you've got the humbucker in the bridge. Warren says, I love Band the Box. I have the 2021 version and waiting to upgrade to 22. There you go. So you must be on PC, right? Are you on PC, Warren? Because they upgrade the PC version before the Mac version, which is annoying, but it's just the way it is. Danielle, I get overwhelmed by Band the Box features. Usually just want drums and bass for practice and timing reference. Well, the great thing about Band the Box is you can make it as complicated or as easy as you like. And trust me, it can get very complicated. Incredibly complicated. So what I do is I tend to just open it up, type the chords in, choose a style, choose a tempo, and go. I don't really sit there and try to program in pauses and odd time signatures and tweak it so you only get this sound at this time. That can get really time consuming, and sometimes it's a little bit kind of buggy too, I've noticed. But just to load up a basic backing track to play over is so great. There's nothing like it on the market. I wish there was, but there's nothing like it that I've found. Yeah, Warren's on PC. So Warren, you can get the 2022 version of Band the Box soon. That's out now, I think, for PC. But I have to wait until next year to get it for Mac. So after the JBL, let me see here. Nope, I didn't review much gear after. Oh, okay. The Strobo Plus, Peterson Strobo Plus HDC. Love it. It's always on my desk, and I think everyone should have one. I really mean that. You'll notice it's always on my desk. You know, watch YouTubers that talk about gear and look at the gear they actually use. So if you see something on their desk and they're just using it naturally all the time, that's got to be something that they like, right? So this is always on my desk, and I love it. Really great product, the Strobo Plus HDC. Then there was the Eon 1 Mark II, which is the battery-powered version of the Prx1, basically. So I have both of those. They both use the same app, which is ingenious. But again, I want to see more put into the app, as I think other people do as well. It's a shame. Those videos get so many views, thousands of views. I want to do more videos on it and how I use it, but I want to wait. Like I said, I want to wait for stuff to be ready before I talk about it. I don't see the point of talking about stuff I don't like or I feel is not ready. I want to just push stuff that I feel is there and worth talking about. And that was it. That took me up to unboxing the Custom Shop John Mayer copy, which did really well too. And I'll do more videos on that guitar next couple of weeks. So, what was your favorite thing this year? And did I miss anything? I guess the Fiore was announced this year, right? Thomas Moore? There's tons of things that I didn't mention, like the Acoustasonic, the Mexican Acoustasonic that came out recently, the FM9 from Fractal. There's been several amps released this year. There's been a lot. There's been a lot, but I can't include everything. Something else I wanted to mention was Apple. Again, this is computer related, not music related, but I use my computer to stream and to record and to invoice and everything. So the Apple M1x processor for me has been one of the biggest things for me this year. I mean, even the fact that I can now record and have no fan noise is incredible. And I love it. And I'm so happy Apple did it. Yes, there's still plugins and software that don't work with it, that need to be updated. And I'm sure that might take 1 or 2 more years. But most software now is updated or compatible. I think in 2 years it'll be incredible, because in 2 years' time, everything will be updated and they'll be on the M3X and everything will just be, well, I guess it'll be even more powerful, right? Again, if only Band the Box could rebuild with new graphics and compatible with the M1 processors, but I don't think they will. That would be nice though. So tell me, let me know in the chat, what was your favorite piece of gear this year? It doesn't have to be something that was released this year. What's the thing you use the most? What's the thing that impresses you the most as something that helps you to create more music and enjoy creating music more? Let me know. Thomas Moore says, been using my Sonic Research tuner. The Mini works great. I love the size and speed of it. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Sonic Research as well, and I have used it. The Mini is cool. The Mini's not battery powered, but it's great for a pedal board, for like an electric guitar pedal board. It's excellent. You're right. It's really fast. I like that equally. I think I used to use that, and then when Peterson released the pedal version of their tuner, I preferred that because I think the screen is easier to read and it looks cooler. It's also bigger and heavier, so factor into that what you want. It'd be cool if Peterson made a mini version of their pedal board tuner, but I love that one. I love the clip-on, as you know, and then I love this one, and this is the one I use the most because it's always with me on my desk, and I can just turn it on. I love the fact it's rechargeable. I love the fact it's got a huge screen, and I can just tune from across the room. This is great when you're making YouTube videos, because if I'm over there mic'd up and can't move, I can just have this on at all times. Doesn't matter if it dies because it's rechargeable and the battery lasts a long time. And I can just have it on across the room and I can tune. There's one more product coming from them, which I've been beta testing, which is the plug-in version. They're soon going to release a plug-in version. They used to have one and it wasn't compatible with the current Macs. And they're going to re-release that compatible with the current Macs. And yeah, I love it. So if I'm using a plugin on the computer, I just have it open in the background and I can use that to tune as well. So that's currently in development. But yeah, Sonic Research tuners are also excellent. I find the screen a little bit hard to read on those, especially the Mini. But they're incredibly fast, aren't they? Like they track incredibly fast, which is cool. And that's another good option. I agree. MXR Timmy. That's your gear of the year, Thomas? Lewis says, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Lewis. Happy New Year. Had a Merry Christmas. Yes, thank you. Looking forward to 2022. Real Ting says, my Waza Air headphones are my gear of the year. Such a convenient and great way to play and practice. Yeah, I had them. I had the first ones, and I was the one that said, yeah, well, they're good, but the thing drifts. But I didn't really care that they drifted, because I never used that feature anyway. They certainly were excellent. They certainly had a great tone. I still preferred the tone on the Kemper and the Helix when I had them, and I used to plug into them and use them through them, and that was cool too. By the way, the Xsonic AirStep that I have, the Bluetooth pedal, which is rechargeable, really great Bluetooth controller, now has the ability to talk to the Waza Air headphones. So you could sit there with the Waza Air headphones on, plugged into your guitar wirelessly, and then wirelessly have a foot controller with 5 switches and change patches and change effects while you're playing. So it's cool. Like I said earlier on, Boss are so good because they're so innovative and interesting. They don't just keep re-releasing the same old stuff. They actually try new things. They also had the MIDI guitar this year, the synth guitar, sorry, that they released this year. So I like that about them. I like that they're doing stuff that's different. But yeah, I like the Waza Air too. In fact, I really liked them. They gave me a sense of playing that I've never had from any other headphones. But then we went into lockdown and I started wearing the in-ears all the time. And that's when I sold my Waza Air, because I realized, well, I'm always streaming and playing now with in-ears all the time. And I got used to that, so I don't have them anymore. But they are a great product. They actually went on sale at Thanksgiving, really cheap, at half price. And I almost bought another pair, but I missed the sale price. Because they're not cheap, but if you can get them in the sale, they're definitely worth buying. If I saw them again at half price in the sale, I'd get another pair, definitely. Thomas Moore likes the TC Electronics headstock tuner. Yeah, I've tried the TC tuners. I don't like the way you can't rotate them. They just kind of go like on a hinge. You can't move them around. And I never liked the poly tuners. I never felt that they were really fast at tracking. I like the idea of it, but I feel like I can tune my guitar faster with a Peterson or a turbo tuner faster than I can with a poly tuner. But again, innovative, original idea, very cool stuff, but I still prefer the strobe tuners. I love the strobe tuners. It's hard to get to stop spinning. That's never good with the tuner, is it? Use it all the time as a light gain overdrive. The Timmy really is cool. Yeah, Timmy pedal is cool. Do I have one? I think I do. I think I do. What's your favorite pedal for boosting a heavy amp? Is it a tube screamer? Let me know. Thomas Moore, also do love THR iPad Air. I love THR. That app is incredible, isn't it? I was using that for a while. I had it on the computer and the iPhone. I couldn't believe that an iPhone basically had an app which was a Kemper. And it's almost like a Quad Cortex because it does both. They have their own amp models, which are very good. Their own effects and pedals, even a looper and everything. And it's very affordable as well. And then they also have these kind of profiles. So the people that make Kemper profiles also make THR profiles that they sell in their store. So you've basically got captures of amps. So again, let's give THR a lot of credit here. They're doing something that Line 6 and Kemper and Neural are not doing. They're releasing an app for an iPhone that you can potentially take to a gig with a little audio interface and a floorboard controller and play a gig through. That's incredible. Why can't we do that with all of them? Why don't Kemper sell their app with the sounds and everything as well, so I can connect it to my own audio interface and play through that at a rehearsal or a show? I think it's the way forward. I can only assume they don't do that because they sell hardware, and if they sold apps, they'd sell less hardware. And then the thing with THR is they don't sell hardware, so they're selling apps instead. But yeah, definitely worth a look at THR. Check out the demo if you haven't tried it. The interface isn't ideal. The way it's like graphics of real amps and pedals is nice, but it's kind of hard, I find, to switch around them. I'd rather see like a Line 6 Helix style editor. But that's just a personal preference thing, I think. Danielle says, the guitar I use the most is an Eastman AR503CE, 16-inch thin hollow body, arch top. Laminated back and sides with a carved spruce top. I have a Seymour Duncan A6 humbucker in it. Eastman AR50. I'm going to have to look this up because I want to see what it is. So, Eastman AR50 3CE. All right, AR50 3CE Eastman Guitars. Let's check this out here. Can close that one. Okay, screen. Let's take a look at this. Oh, that's nice. Very nice. I mean, it looks... I haven't played it, but it looks great. Which is important, right? Yeah, I don't think I've played any Eastman guitars, actually. But that looks great. Wow. And they've got two finishes here. Sunburst, which is cool. And this kind of reddish one's cool. Nice. Which one do you have, Danielle? And you've changed the humbucker to a Seymour Duncan A6. That's cool. Yeah, that's a nice looking guitar. Wow. I love this tailpiece there too. That's really cool. And the back, the grain on the back. I mean, I guess they all look different, but that one in the picture looks really cool. Thomas Moore says, I got the Boss CE2 Wuzzer, and it really is nice and lush. Yeah, well, if Boss don't know how to make a chorus pedal, then who does, right? Thomas Moore says, I use a full-tone Plimsoll or Exotic SL drive with an EP boost. I go between the SL drive and Plimsoll. Don't have a tube screamer. The EP boost is cool. Yeah, that's a good boost. You know, one of my favorite pedals used to be, or still is maybe, the Sugar Drive, MXR Sugar Drive, just for that light overdrive sound. I love that thing. And something I like about the Neural Quad Cortex is that you can capture those pedals. So if I set that up exactly how I want it, I can capture it into the Quad Cortex and then recall it in a preset with other pedals as well. So I haven't got to take all those pedals with me. I can just capture them into the Quad Cortex and play straight through them. The problem I have, as I said before, the problem I have with the digital stuff is then how do I amplify it at a gig? I like to go through a real amp. I guess I could also capture the pedals and use that as a pedal board into a real amp as well. That could be cool. Oh, well, Danielle says, I have two of them. I have both finishes. Very nice. That's cool. And then which one is your favorite to play? That's my question. So I don't want to sit on the fence. I want to tell you what my favorite gear of this year has been. And I made a note of it. Let me pull this note up. So I've got kind of three things. And I've already said them, but I'll say them again. If I have to choose my top three for this year, stuff that's released this year, by the way, I've got a few things here that I love that were not released this year. So I'm not including them in this. First of all, I'm going to say this one. I know it's incredibly boring and it's a tuner, but I really, really like it because, as I said in my review, it's so handy because it's got the metronome and it's got the strobe tuner, it's got the big screen. And you could say, well, I could use my phone for that. Yeah, I have the Peterson phone app as well. I don't think it's as good as the dedicated hardware. For me, this is just even better. And I might be using my phone for something else, which is really cool. If I'm using my phone to do something, it's nice to have the actual dedicated tuner and metronome on the desk. I'm like that with everything. I love apps on phones, but then I find I want to use the phone and I'm using it for something else. I still like having the dedicated device. And this thing is great. Again, watch the video review of it if you haven't seen it already. Because you've got a microphone, so you can play your acoustic into it. You've got a line in, so you can plug your electric guitar into it. You've got a line out, so you can go into your amp. You've got an incredibly advanced metronome, which I don't even use, but I'm just letting you know it's in there. I just use it as a basic metronome, but it's got every kind of metronome thing you can think of in here, which is great. Of course, the tuner is great with all the sweetened tunings and everything. Again, I don't really use them, but it's great to know they're all in here. Even just as a basic tuner and metronome, I absolutely love this thing. It's got a kickback stand on it. You can mount it onto a microphone stand. It's rechargeable, so you haven't got to spend any money on batteries. The rechargeable battery is replaceable. It's got everything, and especially if you teach, like when we go back to teaching in person, this would be so great to have on the desk while you're teaching a guitar lesson. But yeah, I love it. I love it because I use it all the time. So that's my first thing. The second thing has to be the Apple M1x. It's just changed everything. I now have silence in the room, no fan, no lag. When I used to go live, I would open Facebook to say I've gone live and it would freeze. And it was really kind of stressful. I kept thinking the computer was going to crash. Because it turns out Facebook is quite the memory hog, which is crazy, right? But no problem with this new computer. I can jump over to Facebook. I can jump over to any website. I can spin around. I can have two cameras. That fan has never turned on. I was so nervous the fan would start turning on over time. But the fan has never turned on once on my MacBook, which is amazing. Excuse me. So that's got to be it for me. I know it's boring. I know it's not a guitar or a piece of gear, but it's the hub of everything that I do. And that's why it's so important to me. And then the third one is incredibly controversial, but it's going to be the Quad Cortex. I don't know. You know, the thing about that is, like I said, the form factor is excellent. The promise of it is excellent. But even now, even the amps and effects in there now are really great. I really like them. I got some dust in here. I need to get the dust out of this room because I'm coughing. Or allergies or something. But the Quad Cortex is... The thing is, it's good now. I've been playing just basic amps through it and effects, and I like it. So for me, it does what it says it will do. The only problem is they promise a lot of other functionality which is not there. That was a mistake on their part. That's why most companies don't do that, because now everyone's complaining that it's been almost a year and those features are not included. So that's a real tough one, and I think I'm just going to follow that journey through 2022. And then if something better comes out, or if they don't show it much love, I guess I'll sell it. I can't believe they won't, because that's their first product. They need to make this work. Their plugins are excellent. If they can just get a looper in there, put their plugins onto it and make it all a bit more slick, I think it'll be really great. So, like I said, I wouldn't be talking about it or own it right now if I didn't like it for what it is now. It's just a great starting point, and there's so much more they could do with it. And will they do that? Well, I guess that's why I have a YouTube channel, right, to talk about that. Thomas Moore says, I like your GPC Martin of all your new guitars. It sounds great, especially plugged in. Yeah, so I guess that's my gear of the year. That wasn't announced, that wasn't released this year. I got it this year. I got it because the shows were opening back again, and I wanted to have a guitar that I could use at shows that was easy to hold, because I do a 4-hour show. The GPC Martins are so interesting because I don't think it's the best sounding unplugged Martin of the lineup. I think it is that in-betweener, you know. It's not an OM, it's not a mid-focused OM that I love. It's not a big boomy dread that I love. It's kind of in the middle. I get why Martin don't really push those anymore. They're kind of more of their low end now. I get it. But it's a great guitar with a cutaway, light, easy to carry around, anthem pickup. It's a great gigging guitar, and that's why I own it. But it really is a kind of a, I hate that phrase, but kind of a jack of all trades. It is. It is what it is. But it's got the anthem. It sounds great live. It's comfortable. It's got the cutaway. It's great for that. It's basically this guitar. I could also use this one. This is basically the same, but the Rain Song version. I'm going to do a video, actually. I was going to do it today. I'm going to compare the Rain Song with the GPC with the Maton. Now, the Maton isn't quite the same body shape, but they're all basically GPCs. You know, the Maton is slightly different. I could just do this and the Martin. I think they're closer. But I want to do 3 guitars, basically. I want to do the Carbon, the classic Rosewood and Sitka, and the Australian Tonewoods. I want to see if people can tell which one is which. I want to know, because a lot of us that watch this channel that like Martin guitars are so used to the sound of Rosewood and Mahogany and Sitka. We're not used to the sound of Australian Tonewoods, and we're not used to the sound of Carbon Fiber, maybe. So it'd be really interesting if I do a shootout and ask people, which one is the carbon fiber guitar? All right, here's 3 guitars. Which one sounds the best to you? Which is your favorite tone? And which one do you think is the carbon fiber? And then I'll give the results a week later in the description. I think I'm going to do that. I want to see if people can hear it. Because honestly, I love the sound of the Rain Song. And I don't know. It's always different. Remember, it's always different in the room. When you do these tests in the room, they're different when you do them on a microphone and then level match them, of course. But I want to know if the recorded tone gives it away or not. I want to see if anyone can guess it right. I think it'd be really interesting. So look out for that one. But yeah, Thomas, you got me thinking now. See, I'm a bit more now about the application of the job. So rather than trying to find one guitar that does everything, I'm just thinking, well, that GPC is great for gigging. And then the OM Custom is great for at home, for recording with a microphone, right? It's got a pickup, but it's the basic pickup. So use that for recording. Like get the tool for the job is what I'm trying to say. But I'm always fighting that because my dream is to have one thing that does everything. That's what I wanted from the beginning when I did the channel. I was looking for an acoustic guitar that blew my mind, and the pickup that gave me the sound that I wanted from like the sound of that kind of Cole Clark anthem sound. And of course I never found it. So that's why I had to decide that's all a trade-off. And really, I just want just a couple of things that do those things really well. So the GPC has now become my gigging guitar, pretty much. And for home, I don't know. I'll do that test. I think that test will be very revealing. We'll see. Crazy girl, how you doing? Good to see you again. But yeah, Thomas, thanks for that. GPC, that is a cool guitar. It's interesting though that they discontinued them, isn't it? I think with Martin, a lot of people just don't want a pickup. I think with Martin, a lot of people want a OM28, no pickup. No strap button, nothing. They just want a classic wood guitar, all that history, no electronic, no battery. They just want a classic guitar to play unplugged. And that's fine. I see that now. I saw that trying to sell one of my guitars. So 2 people asked me to take the pickup out of the guitar. I said, I'm not doing that. That's a boutique Dazzo pickup. Like the right person that wants that guitar and that pickup will pay full price for that. They want it. It'll save them all the hassle of installing it themselves because it's been installed by Teddy Dazzo, right? But anyone else like that looked at it was just like, oh, can you take that out of there? They just want the classic wood box. They don't want anything else in it. I get it. I totally get it. And that's why we have Cole Clark guitars, Maton guitars, and Acoustasonics, right, for the other people. Martin guys and girls don't want cutaways. That's right. I mean, in fact, even Martin themselves will allude to that. You know, like the cutaway is. I mean, look at what Martin do with electronics. If there's a cutaway in a factory standard series Martin, it has a pickup. Martin do not make a cutaway acoustic with no pickup. Every cutaway has a pickup because it's like they assume if you've got a cutaway, you're going to play it on a stage and you want a pickup. Isn't that nuts? Lots of famous guitars and great guitars have cutaways and no electronics, right? But that's just the way it is, and that's the way it always has been. But having said that, the GPC with the Anthem is a great combination, and I think they just didn't catch on. Well, I think they would still make it now, but they've probably discontinued it temporarily because of all the problems right now. They want to focus on the OM28s, the HD28s, until things pick up again. So maybe it will come back, or maybe the next SC13 style guitar will replace the GPC as the stage guitar, because that could be a cool guitar for stage as well. All right. So quickly, if you're new here, please subscribe and ring the bell. I really would appreciate it. And that's it, really. I mean, it's been an interesting year. My dad has learned how to play the guitar. Awesome. That's one thing I haven't done on the channel yet, which is guitar lessons. But you know, there's so many great guitar lessons on YouTube now, so I will do it. I've got a few courses lined up that I want to make. I will do some courses in my own way, or maybe of how I play songs. But yeah, like I said, check out all the free lessons on YouTube. There's so many of them. But yeah, like I was saying, it's been a good year because we had no January NAMM. We just had Believe in Music, the virtual event. There was no physical NAMM show. If there'd been a physical NAMM show this year and the Summit NAMM show had been a bigger scale, we would have had more stuff released. Of course, we couldn't have them, but I'm really impressed with what was released. Now, you got to think. Well, I didn't think any new gear would be released this year. I thought it'd be just nothing, absolutely nothing. So we've had some really big releases. I'm also convinced that there's many releases that didn't come out because those events didn't happen. Like, I know the Amp X, the Blue Guitar Amp X, was supposed to come out this year. It was going to come out this year at NAMM. And now they've moved it back to the next NAMM show. They said they need the NAMM shows for the promotion, right? They're going to wait for the next big NAMM show. And the next big NAMM show is next June. So rather than release it last June, just gone, they're going to release it next June. Well, what that means is, talking about firmware, they've had another 12 months to work on the product. So I'm really hopeful that when they release that product in June, it's going to be absolutely phenomenal, fully baked, bug-free, really exciting. I think it's going to be really good. I think that's a good thing. I know they said that about this as well. This would have come out in June, but because they had basically as much time as they wanted, they delayed it until around October. They had more months to iron things out. I do think a lot of products are rushed out. I understand they have to be. They have to have deadlines and start selling and recouping costs. I totally get that. But so many products this year, like I said at the start of the show, have been rushed, are not ready. I mean, they're ready, but they're not where they need to be. And again, it must be very difficult to do that. I understand. But I just hope we don't see more and more of that going forward. It's very frustrating to get something which is great, and then the software is kind of buggy, or there's a bug or something. You know, I mean, I guess it's happened all the time. I use the TC Helicon Play acoustic pedal at my shows, and there's a bug in there that when you turn it on, the boost is engaged, and every time you turn it on, you have to turn the boost off. And they never fixed that bug. It's just a bug. They never fixed it. It's on all the pedals. I've had a few of them. They all have it. So bugs are a real thing. Bugs do exist. Sometimes that's just the nature of the beast, right? But I don't want to see stuff released that is just totally bare bones and then, oh, we'll fix it later. I don't think that's good. I don't think that's a good thing. So I hope we see less of that. I hope we see more innovation in 2022. I'd love to see more cool products like, I'd love to see a new Variax from Line 6. I'd love to see, ideally, I'd love to see a TC Helicon Voice Live 4. That's not going to happen. I'd love to see a company make something like that for singer guitarists. I'd like to see more cool, innovative stuff. Marianne, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. And look, you get your name in lights when you send me a super chat. And yeah, so I think it's great. I love doing the Gear Chat Wednesdays. There's always something to talk about. This gear thing is really interesting. It can become very overwhelming, so hopefully we can navigate it together and I can get some ideas from everyone that's watching. I'm definitely going to make some more videos about these things so you can watch and give me feedback on the results. Like I said, how great would it be to do carbon fiber versus wood without seeing the guitars and see if you can tell me which one is the carbon fiber and also which one is your favorite, because maybe you'll say, well, I think that's the carbon fiber, but that's also my favorite. That could be really interesting. Thomas Moore says, I won a Jackson Audio Bloom compressor from an Andy Wood live stream. He has several compressors, an EQ and a boost. You know, compression is something I just can't get into. Of course, I use it when I record, but compressors on electric guitar, I don't know. I often try them. That's just not a sound that I really like. If I do use them, I use them really lightly and blend it in just to even the sound out a little bit. But that kind of compressed electric or acoustic sound, I'm just not really a fan of. Like on paper, it makes total sense to me and makes everything just more smooth and ironed out and punchier. But it never really clicks for me. I just love going like straight into a clean amp. For me, I don't really seem to miss any compression when I do that. I guess it depends on what kind of style you play and your rig and everything. But yeah, I do have one. I have the mini one that was released a few months ago. The mini compressor. I can't think who makes it now, but I have one on my pedal board, and I do have it on. Again, I have it on so light you can barely hear it. And one of the best things they did in the Fractal and Line 6 pedals is they put a meter so you can actually see when you're playing the guitar when the compressor is doing something. Because I swear for a long time it wasn't doing anything. I had it on so low that in my mind I thought, great, I've got a little bit of compression there, but it just wasn't doing anything. Because when I hear the compression, I don't like it. I don't like that sound. So it's really cool on those pedals because you can dial it in so you just see it kicking in and then blend it, and then you know you've got a little bit of compression there, but not enough to really notice it. But that is definitely a personal preference thing. I know guitarists that swear by compression pedals and have to use them to get that feel and sound they want, and I know people that just don't really use them at all, like myself. Yes, something I'm still kind of playing with. Having said that, I sometimes feel like, with a tube amp, I don't really need it. I don't miss it. Sometimes the digital stuff can sound a bit flatter, and I feel like that might give me more of that sound, but I just use the tube amp. So yeah. Oh, the Cali 76 pedals have a light, so you can see when it's turning on. Yeah, I like that. The one I have doesn't have that. I've seen a couple that have the light. Let me see here. Origin Effects, Cali compact compressor pedal. This one? Well, that's an on or off. I've seen one. I have seen one by another brand that has the LEDs all along it, and they light up when it's kicking in. I should probably get one of those. This one. Oh, I see some LEDs on there. Maybe it's those. Yeah. Yeah, I did see one. I can't think who makes it. Is it Carl Martin? No, I'm not sure. But it's got lots of LEDs on it, and it's a stomp box like this. And when it's kicking in, you see the LEDs go up, which is what they do on the digital stuff, which is cool. Yeah. I have a mini compressor. It doesn't have any lights. So again, you can hear it. I can hear it. It's just nice when you have the lights as a reference as well. Hey, how you doing? Jason, good to see you here. I just picked up a D18 and put an anthem in it. There we go. For live use, would you add an additional preamp for it? No. IR, no. So, Jason, what I do is I plug into the TC Helicon Play acoustic pedal, and I think I have got like a low cut and a few EQ tweaks on there. So the thing about the Anthem is it's this expression of plug and play is kind of plug and play. There's a couple of things you got to consider though. Okay, here's a quick rundown on the Anthem for Jason. So the full Anthem is quite low output. The SL has about 8 dB more gain in it. So if you have the full Anthem, depending what you plug into, you might need more gain. I've never needed more gain on anything. I just use the gain control on the mix or whatever. I don't need it on anything else. But I do have an amp I'm about to review by NuX where it could use a bit more gain. So I would use a preamp in that situation only. You don't tend to really need a preamp depending on what you're plugging into. So it really would help to know what you're plugging into and whether it's the SL or the full Anthem. I like the full Anthem for its versatility, and you can do things like blend in the pickup. You can't do that on the SL, but the SL has more gain because it doesn't have that additional gain structure, additional circuitry. So you get more gain as a result. So that's worth bearing in mind. I mean, additional preamp with EQ and stuff is never a bad idea. It just gives you even more ways to color your tone. So it's not a bad thing. And this all depends on the guitar, because maybe your guitar sounds great, just plug straight in, or maybe it needs some additional bass or a mid-cut. Depends on your guitar as well, because the Anthem does reflect the sound of the guitar rather well. Now, the other thing with the Anthem is it's got that trim control. That you get a long yellow stick with the Anthem, and you've got that trim control. So you have to set that. That is so crucial, because what that does is it adjusts the level of the mic relative to the undersaddle pickup. So you put it all the way over to the mic setting, and as you adjust it, you'll hear it. And I tend to use that also as kind of a tone control as well, because obviously the more mic you have relative to the pickup, the more brightness you tend to get as well, and handling noise. So you have to plug into whatever you're plugging into, and then set that while you're plugged in and strumming the guitar to sound natural. It's kind of natural, and also the sound that you want for the application you're doing. So that's really important. Those things are really important. I don't think IR is important. I love the Anthem because it is a microphone. I think it sounds incredibly natural. I don't need an IR. I mean, you could try it. You could try the VoicePrint DI with it. I got some good results. I don't think it's necessary live, maybe for doing a live stream or something. And then I think EQ is important. If you've got a mixer with a great EQ, I often find with that pickup, actually on mine I add some mids back in. I add some mids to it, and I play with the EQ, and I can get an even better sound. I did that the other week in Logic. I plugged in and I applied an EQ, and I made it sound even better. But that's just a great system, because I always think it sounds so good just plugging straight in. But that's not to say it doesn't benefit from EQ. Any pickup benefits from EQ, depending on the room and the system and your personal preferences, right? I have the big box Kali 76 with multiple LEDs. Yeah, it is handy, isn't it? Because when you want that really subtle compression, unless your ears are really good at hearing that, it's good to see it visually. Jason, thank you. I really appreciate it. Let me give you one of these. Thanks for supporting the channel. Please subscribe. I'll have more videos about the Anthem coming up. We had planned on doing a deep dive into the Anthem with LR bags themselves. We just haven't got around to doing it yet. That would be incredibly geeky, and I'd be asking them things like, why did you design it? How did you design it? What's the difference between the different versions? Because there's the SL, the regular, and the stage DI version. Not stage DI, the one that's in here, the one that's got a cutaway in the side. So then we get some additional tips from them as well. But that might be coming. Poo Ninja, I saw your video earlier, Poo Ninja. I like compression for vocals, but not so much my guitar. I agree. Yeah, I'm like that too. Some of the other Kali 76s, they change color as you play it in compressors. I like that. I really like that. So the light changes to show you what's happening. That's so useful. I might have to get a different compressor on my pedal board. Okay, full Anthem into Allen Heath mixer. Great. Now you don't need a preamp. You don't need anything else. So just make sure the bottom of the saddle is flat. So make sure every string is the same volume. Okay, sometimes that high E string is too quiet because the bottom of your saddle isn't completely flat. And then make sure, put it on full volume, put the mic, on full microphone blend all the way to the left. Maybe back off just a touch. That's what I do. But when you're dialing in the mic, put it on full microphone, use the stick and set that with everything flat on the mixer to sound basically how you want it. And then use the EQ on the mixer to adjust it. And a great tip for that is use a loop pedal. So get a looper pedal, play your guitar into it once you've made those adjustments. And then while that loop is playing through the PA, walk around the room, play with the EQ and get a sound that you're really happy with, and then write those settings down or take a picture of those settings and then use that in the future. That's the way to dial it in. I always want to do that at my shows. I want to loop it and walk around, but often there's guests there, people eating whatever. I can't do it. But if you ever had a chance to do that, it's a really good way to dial in your tone like that. And also note that, people say the Anthem doesn't feed back. Any pickup feeds back. That pickup can still feed back. You might want to get a feedback buster and cut a section out for the controls. So you can put that inside the sound hole in case you want to play a really loud stage, because you still got a mic in the guitar. And you still might get some resonant frequencies. I was playing last night, got the B kept feeding back. So it's good to have a notch filter. That's just the one thing I would suggest is some kind of notch filter. So if you, again, maybe you don't need it depending what you're playing through, where you're playing. But if you ever get that kind of thing, it's good to get something that has a couple of notch filters in it. And often preamps do. Some preamps have what's called a notch filter. And then you can just take out that really narrow frequency from the sound that's feeding back. It's incredibly useful. So yeah, there's a million preamps out there, and some of them do have additional features that are really cool. I did review something called the M1x Stageman DI a couple of years ago that had a freeze effect in it. So you actually hold the chord while you're playing the chord, it freezes it, and you can play over the top. Things like that can be cool. I like the TC Helicon Play Acoustic because it has the notch, additional EQ, and it does my vocals and everything as well. That's what I use at my shows. Dear me. Just do my daily banning of people. There we go. I got this year a Yamaha mixer and works with my powered EV speakers. The preamps sound really good. Yeah, Yamaha. I always say Yamaha make excellent stuff for the money. Special deal of the day. Yeah, look out for those. Those musicians' friends deal of the days are excellent. They're really good. So yeah. Okay, live. Hi, greetings from Belgium. Good to see you. My favorite for keeping ideas and practice, the Ditto Plus looper. I agree. What a great product. Affordable, cool, small, and I should have written the advertising blurb for them. It's, yeah, like I said, it's my most watched video by month, I think. And let me just show you this if you haven't seen this before. This is the Ditto Plus is what I meant to say, of course. Oh, has the price gone up? $149? I thought it was like $130. Anyway, even at $149, still good. So you get that color screen. It's easy to see where you are in the loop. If you play a loop, it's got like memory slots, like 99. So if you play a loop and don't delete it, it will stay there. So if you write an idea, you can leave it in there and reference it again. You can plug it into a computer and take it out to your computer. You can put loops into it from the computer. It's incredible. Do you know what would be really incredible? If they made a Ditto Plus 2, and by 2, I don't mean a new version, I mean 2 foot switches. Because like I said earlier, the Ditto X2, this is the pedal I recommend to anyone. If you want to get into looping, if you're brand new to looping and it's something you want to explore, the Ditto X2, this is the one to get. Because it's simple, it's reliable, it works really well. It doesn't have any weird glitches when you record the loop or anything. It's basically play, record, stop and delete, left and right. You've got the 2 buttons. Big volume knob that you can turn with your foot. And it's affordable. It's sold out everywhere right now, which is a real shame. And if I do a looping course, I'd use this pedal simply because this for me is the one to get if you're new to looping. And it's got the 2 switches. So imagine if they made a Ditto Plus like this with the color screen and this technology, because this is actually a 2-track looper as well. You can have a mode where it's a 2-track looper. So imagine if they put this technology into this box and made what is essentially a 4-track looper. That would be really, really great. That would be incredible. I probably wouldn't use anything else. Because if I had this small looper with 2 buttons and I could import loops and export loops, and it basically had 4 tracks, you know, yeah, I wouldn't use anything else. It'd be so cool. So that's one product I hope to see next year. I think that could really change the game. A Ditto X2 Plus. I really hope they make that pedal. But I'm not going to keep my fingers crossed because TC Helicon, TC Electronic have not done much new stuff lately. That's right, Poo Ninja. Luckily, Ecamm Live software has a ban button right in the chat. I just go ban and they're gone, which is really cool. So it's not really a problem at all. What does the Plus do? Check out the review of it. Check out the review. I absolutely loved it. Love Bigfoot controls like on my MXR. Yeah, of course. Every foot pedal should have those huge oversized volume knobs that you can turn with your foot. Maybe even like a rubberized ring around it, where you can just turn it with your foot. Of course, why not? You don't want to bend down to change the level when you can just use your foot, right? Jared says that's dollars. Yeah. Oh, did you not know I'm in the USA, Jared? Do you not know that? I know some people get confused because of my accent. They think I'm in the UK. I'm not. I'm in America. I buy in dollars. I can't remember what pounds look like. It's been 11 years. Almost 12 years now. Oh, crazy. So yeah, I honestly believe if they made the Ditto X2 Plus, that thing could destroy every looper on the market. It would be a game changer. I don't know why they haven't done it. It would be so cool. But yeah, it's crazy how everything's sold out right now, isn't it? Oh, this was the original Ditto, by the way. So this was the original Ditto, and that is only $70, but it's just a 1-button looper. I used to use that on my electric, but look at what the Plus does. Okay, yeah, it's $80 or like $90 more, but look at what it gives you. The same form factor pedal, but just having that screen and that technology gives you so much more functionality. The way it can save the loop, and you can have 99 loops, and you can import loops, all this stuff that they've added to this same form factor. So that was my point. If they can do that to the Ditto X2, that would be incredible. Absolutely incredible. I don't know why they haven't done it. I think they would sell better than any looper out there. I don't know why they don't do it. But anyway, like I said, that's why I have a gear channel. If I didn't have it, if I wasn't waiting for new gear and didn't have ideas about what I want to see on the marketplace, then I wouldn't have a YouTube channel, right? So you can trust that if they do release that pedal, I'll be reviewing it immediately and having a little party here as well. So yeah, I think 2022 is going to be very exciting. I think 2021 was great for gear. I think we're waiting on a lot of stuff that I know of a few products that haven't been released because they couldn't release them because of shortages. There's a ton of stuff that's not been released that will be coming next year. I'm sure, or the year after that, I'm sure. Plus anything that's been worked on this year, if they could do that while people have been at home, if they were working from home, if they can still develop the same way they do in an office, we'll see all that stuff come out as well. I think 2022 could be excellent. We've already had a notification about the PRS SE Silver Sky that's coming in a few weeks' time, and we're not even in 2022 yet. So I think it's going to be a great year for gear. The Memory Man delay and looper looks cool. I haven't seen that, so just before I go, I'm going to look that one up. I got to say, a new app just came out, Loopy Pro, and on paper that's great. You know, I used to do a lot of videos on apps for music, but they just kept crashing and became a real headache, so I stopped using them. But the apps have potential too. But the great thing with the hardware is it just works out of the box. You haven't got to go in and plug in a MIDI controller and program it all. a lot of people don't want to do that stuff, and I get it because it's a real time-consuming thing. Memory Man looper. Let me see this thing. Oh yeah, I see it. 240. It looks, well, I was going to say, it looks very old-fashioned. That's because it's electro-harmonics. Let's see what it's got. Echo, tap. So it's a delay pedal that's also a looper. So you get a lot of those. Like a delay pedal also has a loop function, like the Strymon pedals do that. Yeah, it could be. It'd be worth a look. But I think I want to see something with. I want to see touchscreens. I want to see the Aeros with much better firmware. I want to see the TC, like I said, the Ditto X2 with that color screen, where it's not that hard to use, but you've got all that additional functionality. That's what I want to see. I want to see something new, because the Boss loopers are great. I still think they're some of the best ones, but they are kind of old-fashioned. Like, where are the color screens? Where are the touch screens? Also, going back to Quad Cortex, that could be a great looper with that big color screen and the power it has and all those foot switches. If they could make that into a 3-track looper, that could be a great looper in its own right. Again, firmware, firmware, firmware. It's all about the firmware. Today's video should be called "It's All About the Firmware," because that's the thing now. It makes or breaks everything. All right, I'm going to wrap things up. I want to say thanks for your support this year. It's been a great year. I've really enjoyed making videos, especially going live. I love going live. So I'm going to keep this schedule in 2022. Mondays, 4 p.m. discussing acoustic guitars with my special guest, Maury Rutsch. Wednesdays at 1, discussing music gear, either our thoughts on it or new releases. And Sundays at 4, going live and playing some cover songs on Sundays. And then any other videos that I make about any products going forward. I still have a couple to make. I'll try to get one done today. The NUX Stageman 80 amplifier. Really cool product. Really interesting product. And that's got a looper and IRs in it as well. It's an acoustic amp. It's rechargeable. That video is coming up soon. I need to catch up on the videos I've still got to make, because I bet in a few weeks' time, especially after the January virtual NAMM event, there'll be loads more stuff to make videos about and talk about. So I better get caught up. We have different sales engineers. Yours is probably happier than mine. I look a lot and buy very little. I made a joke with mine a few years ago. I was at a Tommy Emmanuel camp, and my sales engineer called me. He doesn't normally do this, but back then he did. And I just remember it as clear as day. I was sitting at the table, and I said, "Hey, Tyler, how you doing?" And he said, "Just see if you need anything, Aaron." And I said, "What? You calling me?" I said, "Am I your best customer or something?" And he said, "Well, pretty close." He thought I was being serious. I was just making a joke. Like, "I must be your best customer." Ha ha ha. He thought I was being serious. So he was like, "Well, yeah, I think you're one of the top 3. So I guess he does like me. Something that's funny about Sweetwater, though, is that they messed up his picture. Let me see if they've fixed it. I logged in. It was so funny. I should have made a video about it. I logged in a few weeks ago, and my sales engineer's picture had changed to a completely different face, and I was like, "Is that, has he like changed his appearance, or what's going on?" So I asked him about it. He said that's a guy that works in the warehouse with the same name, and they mixed up the pictures. I was really freaked out. I was like, "What's going on with this?" Oh, I'm not logged into my account. That's why I can't see his picture. Let me see if they corrected his picture. The one you saw, Poo Ninja, was not him. That's like a generic shot. Yeah, they fixed his picture now. Thank goodness, because that was really like, I was like, "What's going on here? That's not him." Anyway, if you are shopping on Sweetwater, and you're not going to get a discount from your sales engineer because it's a product that won't be discounted, then please consider clicking on my link in the description below. I have affiliate links with Amazon, Thomann, and Sweetwater. You just click the link, buy anything, and I get a commission at no cost to you. And I promise to put that back into the channel to make more videos to help you find more gear next year. Also, thanks to Super Chats today for supporting me with those. And if you want to support and buy something, you can buy a Soundhole Sniffer mug, t-shirt, or sticker. And again, that's all in the description below. Most importantly, please subscribe and ring the bell if you haven't. And I look forward to checking out more stuff next year. Maybe doing some trips. I'm planning to go to Summer NAMM if I can in Anaheim. So all these things should be really exciting and fun for 2022. So I want to say Happy New Year, Happy New Gear, Happy New Year. I won't say Happy New Gear because that's Phil McKnight's thing, but Happy New Year. Thanks for supporting me this year. And I look forward to seeing you next week for the first episode of 2022. Can you believe it? All right. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you next time. And bye-bye.